For those unfamiliar, Smash Up is a shuffle-building card game where the goal is to acquire 15 victory points and win the game. But today we are asking the question, why stop there? Can we score an infinite amount of points in Smash Up? But before we can reach infinity, let's go over the basics. There are two kinds of playable cards in Smash Up, minions and actions. You shuffle these together to make up your deck, and drawing from this deck makes up your hand, or the cards you're actually allowed to play. But what do these cards do? We'll start with actions, which are really simple. You just do what the card says and then discard it. Minions are slightly more complicated with two components. They have power, which is 2 in this case, and ability, which is similar to actions, just instructions to follow once the card has been played. Minions must be played on bases, like so, which is where power comes into play. Once the total power on a base meets or exceeds its breakpoint, 21 in this case, the base will score. For example, let's say I play 10 of these Argonauts on this base, and on your turn, you play 1. Now the total power is greater than the breakpoint, so the base will score. I have the most power on this base, so I am awarded 4 victory points, and you would be awarded 3 for second place. At this point, all minions on the base are discarded, and the base is replaced with a new one. Now, in order for us to have a truly infinite combo, we need to be able to score whatever bases are revealed. So in order to see what we're working with, here's a list of all the bases in Smash Up arranged by breakpoint. And from this, we can find that 30 power is our goal. But how does that help us exactly if all minions are discarded every time a base scores? Well, that is where we find the savior of this challenge, the first mate. The first mate has a special ability which is activated not when played, but when a base scores, allowing it to move to a new base instead of to the discard pile. And since there are always at least 3 bases in the game, an infinite is possible even if one base cannot be scored. But since the 2 highest power bases both have a breakpoint of 30, nothing changes for us. But now we have a clear game plan. Get the power of the first mates to 30 or higher, and then we have an infinite. But in Smash Up, we aren't allowed to just take whatever cards we want for our deck. We instead need to combine 2 factions to use for our benefit. Pirate is a must because it contains the first mate, and we'll take Ancient Greek for our second faction because of, well, just about every other card that you're about to see. There are 4 first mates in the pirate deck, so you'll need to have played all of them on the same base on previous turns, as well as Jason and Odysseus on any base. Each turn you're allotted 1 action and 1 minion you can play, so we'll keep track of those here, and this is a running tally for the total power of our first mates. Now let's get ready to go infinite. For our first card, we'll use our action to play Favor of Hermes. Now since this is the first action you've played this turn, Jason activates, giving all our first mates +1 power. All actions trigger Odysseus, who can buff one of our first mates, and then resolving the action itself gives us 2 extra actions that we're going to play this turn. Next we have Favor of Dionysus, which once again activates Odysseus. Get used to this step, it's going to happen a lot. Favor of Dionysus gives a minion +1 power and gives an extra action, so you'll still have 2 left to play. But it also allows you to place it on top of your deck instead of discarding it, so just keep that in mind. We follow that up with Favor of Apollo. Odysseus buffs the first mate, and then you get to play an extra action as well as draw a card, which, wouldn't you know it, Favor of Dionysus is conveniently on top of the draw pile. So we immediately play Favor of Dionysus again, and all the stuff happens a second time. Odysseus, more power, extra action. We then play our first minion, the Argonaut, which triggers all abilities that would trigger upon playing an action, activating Odysseus once again. Swashbuckling triggers Odysseus, as well as giving all the first mates a +1 till the end of the turn. And with our last action, we play Favor of Ares, Odysseus gives his final buff, and we get a +3 to finish it off. And so, with no actions or minions left, we finish our turn with 28 power. Less than the 30 we need. All this work, and then at the end of the day, still a failure. But wait a second. I just started reading the fine print over here for one of the bases in question, Giant Turnip. Its breakpoint is 1 lower for every minion on it, and we're bringing 4 first mates, making the effective breakpoint 26. So, taking another look at the bases with this in mind, we still have 1 base with a breakpoint of 30, which we'll never be able to score. However, as we discussed earlier, scoring all but 1 base is still good enough for an infinite. Thanks for watching. I'm Burning Curtains, and there's nothing you can do to stop me.